Well, hello there, Philadelphia, and welcome to another fun, action-packed, happy-go-lucky version episode of the Cheap Seats. That game last night, or on Monday Night Football, was the absolute definition of a woulda, coulda, shoulda game. They could have won the game if Nick takes the 3 points instead of going for it on fourth down. They would have won the game if Saquon Barkley just catches the ball, and they should have won the game if the defense could just have one last stand and create a pass rush. But it's hard to win in the NFL. But trust me, losing like that is even harder. Your Philadelphia Eagles are 1-1. The Dallas Cowboys absolutely got thumped by the New Orleans Saints, which was fun for 27 hours. The New York Giants are a dumpster fire shining so bright you can see it from space. And believe it or not, buckle up for this one, the Washington Commanders now lead the NFC East after 2 weeks. All that and more on this episode of the Cheap Seats. But first, let's kick it to my man who broke fresh out of Brazilian prison. We had to call the Navy SEALs. We had to call the Army Rangers. But at the end of the day, all we had to call was Big Dom, who made some phone calls. And we are so glad to see you back here in the studio, safe and sound from your prison stint in Brazil.
And I appreciate it. First of all, I listened to the podcast last week, and I know y'all missed me. It was a great podcast, but I know y'all missed me. I was doing some time in the Brazilian jail, what we call it indecent exposure. I was celebrating the Packers win a little too hard.
A little too hard, man.
And when you celebrate the way Jay celebrates, sometimes your pants come down. That's just what happens.
It happens. Well, listen, we're going to talk about the Eagles' absolute debacle on Monday night. Speaking of pants being down, Black Gritty, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
Oh boy, you said the game last night. That's how bad the game is. It feels like it was last night.
Yeah, and
it's just an absolute embarrassment that didn't need to happen. And the thing that I told you when we did our first episode, when we lose, the days after are so bad here. And by the way, for anybody who has a problem with fans being upset or being negative or being down, that's what happens when you have a community that cares. Go watch the Titans fan base about Mayonnaise Boy. Nobody cares. Go watch. There's so many teams in the league and many leagues around the country where fans don't, you know what, they lost and it's all right because the fans don't care. Here, you can't get a go birds. You get your coffee the next morning. Nobody's got their head up. There's no music playing when you go into the dentist's office in the lobby. It is just the brakes get put on, and that's what's happening right now. Everybody's upset. Nobody's happy. And you talk about Big Dom breaking you out of jail. That's what I need Big Dom to do. I need Big Dom to get back to securing things instead of parading things. I need Big Dom security.
This ain't going to be an anti-Big Dom podcast.
Look. I love Big Dom. I love Big Dom. I love Big Dom. Who's the security for the Chiefs? Who's security for the Patriots? I love him, and he's a great individual. I've seen him out in public with the people. He is great. He is a kind, great man. I prefer him when he was Batman and I was scared to death of him and didn't know what he was doing. Arm used to know about Big Dom was like, yo, there was a problem. He was already on it, and he knew what it was. I'm like, who's that guy?
See what happens in a loss. Yeah. Like now he's bitching about Dom. Right, yeah, of all the things. Now we're just picking out everything. You're not wrong. Yeah, that's what people do after a loss.
But the reality
is,
the thing is, we're talking about Dom a lot too, and that's my other problem.
Yeah, but if they're winning games, you're still talking about Dom, but you're enjoying it. It's because they lost, and now it's a problem. And I get it. Again, you're not wrong, but it's what we do as a fan base when we care. Now, and we're going to get into this in the show. I'm sure we're going to dissect every little angle of what pissed us off and who's to blame. And
everybody's to blame.
Now, Big Dom's even catching shade now.
I did not expect Big Dom to catch it. But by the way, shout out to Big Dom. He actually got me on the field pregame. Which, by the way,
out of jail.
I should have suited up while snuck into the locker room, suited up because my little 5'6" ass, I'm sure could get a better pass rush. These guys can't. They're tall. They can't bend down much. Maybe I could squirt underneath their, get underneath their legs and get to the Kirk Cousins because there was absolutely no pass rush. We're going to get into all of it. And the problem is about getting into all of it, it's where do you even begin to talk about it? There was so many mistakes. Football is cliche in the fact that it is a game of inches, but inches are metaphorical for all the things you do right and all the things you do wrong during a game. And not to quote Al Pacino, but when you stack up all the inches, that's the difference between winning and losing. That's right. That's right. I'm going any given Sunday on your asses right now.
You did.
But it is absolutely apropos. So when looking at this game, I'm just starting out from my gut reaction, and then we'll get into all the minutia of everything that went wrong and second guessing all the mistakes. Week 1, I felt some kind of way. Week 2, boy, I'll tell you what, I'm not pushing the panic button, but that little plastic cover that's over the panic button, it's only week 2. I already have that gently flipped up, and my finger is hovering oh so close to the panic button. Because when I take a look at this game, egregious problem number 1. If you cannot rush the passer, if you cannot put pressure on the passer, and you cannot stop the run with your guys up front to at least slow them down before they get to the second level, ladies and gentlemen, we could very well be witnessing in just week 2 of this season the Achilles heel that is going to be the downfall of the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean, actually, you know what? Shit.
Oh, I thought we were waiting for the reason, right?
No, I ain't waiting for
need
nothing.
it right now.
We're going to get into it.
All right, you can make it sexy later when we go to the read.
I'll make the read sexy later, but if we're going to get into it, then I'm going to need a beer. So you're right. If you don't have a pass rush, you have problems, right? I personally do believe it's a good blend of it's week 2, so everybody chill the hell out. And all right, there's some ring the alarm problems that we are witnessing that can't get overshadowed, right? That we can't ignore. Yeah. I told you guys earlier, I thought the front 7 was going to be a massive issue for this team. Now, I focused on the linebackers. They kind of came back down to earth a little bit against the Falcons, but it was highlighted. The front 4 was where the hell is Huff? And I know that's the kind of en vogue thing to talk about right now. It's your $50 million man, and the man has no pass rush. He's got no get off. He's getting buried in the ground by tight ends. And this is the guy that we said, hey, we don't need Hassan Reddick. And I'm not here to beat the drum about Hassan Reddick. I'm genuinely not. But I was at least excited, enthusiastic. I had some hope for what Huff was going to do for the defense.
Yeah, it should.
Absolutely nothing. This team is missing not only outside pressure, but they are missing the hell out of a Fletcher Cox right now because they're in what Jalen Carter can't do anything. He's double teamed the entire time. Jordan Davis is exactly who we thought he was. You get no edge pressure. Josh Sweat doesn't show up. Nolan Smith, as odd as it sounds, might be the one that can find himself in the backfield the most. I mean, Brandon Graham. It's really Brandon Graham is the only guy that can get any kind of pressure. But from the younger group or from the group that we have our eyes on, I mean, maybe I'd say Nolan Smith deserves more playing time than Huff. And that's insane to say. That's absolutely insane to say that I want to give more run to Nolan Smith, who we are all calling borderline bust, than the $50 million man you signed as a prize free agent. That's a problem. You don't rush a passer, you don't win football games.
Gritty's got it teed up. I know he's got it
teed
bro,
up. They all suck. There's no credibility to any one of them right now. I don't care if it's the second game. It doesn't matter. You're not getting pressures. Mm-hmm. I don't care about the sacks right now, per se, in the second week. But you not being pressured, they are generous with pressures. If you get within 15 feet of a quarterback, you get a pressure. So to have 0 is absolutely embarrassing. And Nolan Smith, I saw him get punked by Bijan and other people.
I know.
So there's no hope right now from any of them on that line. There's no hope from the linebackers. The linebackers make a couple tackles and we get excited. None of them can even make a fundamental solid tackle. And you say that's the beginning of the season, but I mean, you can't tackle? Okay. You can't rush. Okay. What can you do? Then I got my quarterbacks. Quinyon's the only shining light that I can see doing something. Mm-hmm. I saw what you said about mid-play Slay and people jumping on him for being friendly. My problem with being friendly is, bro, good route. It wasn't a good route. You're looking in the backfield at a dude that can't move instead of covering the guy you're on. It wasn't a good route. It was a crappy coverage by you. But you say good route because you want to clap it up and be media boy and be fun. No. Like, nah, dude. Have an attitude. Have some anger. When you asked Saquon about his mistake, his face was crinkling, taking responsibility for his mistake. He didn't say, they just made a good play on me. The pressure was coming. I got nervous. Nah, dude, I should catch that ball. He has some sting in his voice. Slay's like, I blame the young kids or it's a good route. No, bro, it wasn't a good route.
No, see,
you didn't do your job.
I think
Throw defense.
I think we react as fans, and we want to get pissed off because we have to get pissed off. But the reality is, these dudes are competitors, and the reality is, these guys played college ball together, or they grew up playing ball together, or they were on another team together. They studied each other.
Was he playing with London?
I'm saying no. But he studied London, and he knows his game, and he appreciates his game in London. Albeit he's only in his third year. I think he's in third year. Yeah. But the league still respects London's game.
Yeah.
So if I don't have an issue. I don't need to be proven that these guys want to win. They better talk trash and they better hate each other and create some mystical rivalry with the Atlanta Falcons that they don't have. It was a good route. He got beat. His eyes misled him. He looked in the backfield and he got beat. But what's he supposed to do? Go for bump uglies with him? Literally, what do you want Slay to do to prove to you that he wants to win?
I want him to be upset, and I want him to care.
He is upset.
He doesn't look upset
to you. That is
anyone who watched it. He's smiling and laughing when you ask him the question.
There's always the great Philadelphia disconnect.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt,
some athletes make it here, some athletes don't. And really, when it boils all down to it, and the reason why, hey, great players like Donovan McNabb never really connected to the city, even though he's the greatest, statistically speaking, the greatest quarterback in franchise history, is because he didn't hate to lose like we hate to lose.
Number 5 will always love you.
Our optics, that the optics of it say that he doesn't hate to lose. We got a 5-second snippet of him dapping up Drake saying, hey, bro, you got me. Good route. And now we're saying, this dude doesn't want to win. He's a stiff. Get him off. That to me is where I say,
it's not a 5-second
much.
snippet. He's been on his team for years. I've seen him throw other teammates under the bus when it was his mistake. I've also seen him smile and laugh when he makes a mistake and answering the question. It's not a 5-second snippet. It's his career of being here and me seeing it over and over and over again, and I don't like it. It's not 5 seconds.
So why is he a captain?
He is.
Why is he a captain? Why is he a captain?
Because Nick Sirianni is the head coach.
Because his team knows that he's a dog. His team knows he's a leader. His team knows he's a winner. He wants to win. They want to follow guys like that. So what we see from our comfortable, cushy couches on the cheap seats, isn't necessarily reflective of who he is as a player.
And sometimes it is. We have a different opinion.
But no, you're right. And sometimes it is.
Not every guy wants to be a dog. Not every guy wants to be a champion. Not every guy cares about winning. That's about everything in life. You work with people right now that go to their job every day and act like they care. They're there for a check. They give a him about you or a birthday cake or anything about Susie.
You're right.
You're
right.
Because this conversation feels an awful lot like the game. Right?
Yes.
Where it's just all over the place. We're blaming other people.
We're still on defense.
We're blaming things. We started.
We're focused. We're still on defense.
We started with Big Dom. Now we were on the pass rush. Now we're up to Slay.
Everybody's in trouble.
And everybody's at fault. And we're going to list them all out. But I think at least in the next 45 minutes, we need to start making a hierarchy of who's to blame.
No doubt. Like a 1 through 10. And I'll tell you right now, Slay's on the 10. He's in the top 10, but he's at that bottom half.
Let me borrow that.
You want to borrow the pen? Let's get a list.
So we are going to start the blame list.
Start it.
The list of shame.
Give me
number one, everyone.
Number 1, everyone.
All right, then fine. Number two's your line.
Number 2, pass rush.
Yep, gotta be.
Underline.
And now pause.
Circle it. Yep. Highlight it.
As we walk through the show, we'll start adding them in where we see they fit. Right, 1 through 10.
You know what? I like that idea. We're making this up on the fly. I absolutely like that idea. Let me ask you this, because it seems like another one of the main culprits. Do you agree with what happened on the final Eagles drive? How it was called and how was it? How was
I'm gonna piss some people off. I know I'm gonna piss some people off. Absolutely, I agree with it.
Okay.
Absolutely, I agree with it. I think so many people are in this mindset of, well, it didn't work, so it sucked. And we have made a habit of being aggressive, not just under Nick Sirianni. We won a damn Super Bowl in 2017, and we all chant around, Philly, Philly. We got the T-shirts, people got tattoos, they got shows named after Philly, Philly. That was an aggressive-ass play call that worked out, so now we love it. In 2022, Sirianni, aggressive. It's who he is. It's how he goes about the game.
Yeah.
I get it. It didn't work. In that situation, did I think they were going to run the ball? Yes, I did. Did the Falcons think they were going to run the ball? Yes, they did. Which is why the call was perfect, because he was wide open. I don't blame Nick. I don't blame Kellen. I don't blame Jalen. It is on Saquon Barkley. That is another one of your prize free agents that didn't do his job. I don't think Nick was sitting there saying, all right, I got 2 cracks at it. I think I should milk the clock. I think he said, because a lot of people are questioning, well, if you're going to be aggressive, then go for it on 4th down. I thought he was looking at that 3rd down, and whether it was Nick or Kellen or whoever designed and ultimately confirmed the call, irrelevant. But I think in that situation, they said, what is the best chance for me to pick up this 1st down and end the damn game? And that was it. They stacked the middle. He said it today. They were thick in the middle. They thought they had the best shot on the outside.
He used junk in the middle.
I don't want a team that's too afraid to take a risk. You're not going to win that way.
And we would be sitting here.
Correct. We wouldn't be sitting here.
We would be sitting here.
No,
bashing Nick Sirianni or Kellen Moore.
Fair enough.
If they ran it right into the teeth, we would be saying, dude, they're loading the box. They're plugging up the middle, junk in the middle, and you decided to run it there. Dude, try something. We would be sitting there and roasting them for the same reason if the play didn't work. BG.
I don't even have a problem with what you said, but I will say this. Run the ball, run out the clock. Because if you're an old school person, it's not about how people feel. There's just 2 mindsets of football. At the end of the game, a lot of your traditionalists are going to say, you run the clock down, you run the ball. Obviously, you're 3 yards away. Even if you get half a yard, I don't care if they're mushing up the middle. You've been running on them all day long. Oh, and you're the only team in the league that gets 3.5 yards on a tush push. You run the ball. So since you didn't, and Saquon dropped it, since you run it, when he ran successful Monday night, they're back at it. They figured it out. No fumbles, no nothing. They bop. So 3 yards every time you do it. Run it. Run the clock out. You didn't do that. Saquon dropped it. You're right. He should have caught that. That was a perfect play call. He dropped it wrong. My problem is, if you're going to be Nick Campbell all the time. Because the one thing I yell about the Lions for is like, dude, you lose these games because you're not kicking field goals. And he goes the whole game not kicking them. And everybody's like, oh, you chasing points. But he says, look, I didn't kick a field goal in the first quarter. I didn't kick a field goal in the second quarter. I'm sure as hell not kicking one in the third quarter. We're going for touchdowns. And when they lose, he stands on that. So when Nick goes out there in the first quarter 0-0 and vibes, take the points, bro. Either you're going to be balls to the wall the whole time or you're wishy-washy. You got one job. You don't coach the offense. You don't coach the defense. All you do is call timeouts and 4th down plays. So fix it. Be the aggressive guy you were. And everybody said, modeling after Doug Peterson analytics, or don't. This wishy-washy stuff, I got a problem.
Right, so hear me out. That's what I think. Personally, I think that's exactly what he did. He managed the entire game. He had a 3rd and a 4th down. And he looked at it and said, I got to pick up this 3rd down now. I have a surefire completion because I got a play call no one's expecting. It was there. He catches it, stays in bounds. You either pick up the 1st down, 3 options. If he catches that ball, there's 3 options. Either he picks up a 1st down, game over. Scores a touchdown, game over. Stays in bounds, which is just as effective as running the ball, even if he's short. But within that, he's also looking at, let's just say I don't pick it up. Worst case scenario, I'll take the points, go up 6, force a team that only has 15 points to go down the field on my defense where they did not have success passing the football. The entire game, they were running the football down the Eagles' throats. You're not going to run the football down their throats with a minute and a half to go. You can't run the ball. So I think Nick's taking all this into account. That's why I don't have a problem with it. It didn't work. It sucked. I get it. It's football. It's a calculated risk. And a lot of people tell me it's one you don't take. Fine. Fair. I take it. I'm trying to win a football game. And if I think that's the best play I can dial up and I got the horses on the offense to do it, my quarterback drops it in my elite running back's hands. He dropped it. It is what it is.
And that's how the tides
what else you gonna
can
do,
turn.
Gritty? Right?
I'll be mad about it.
We're gonna be pissed off.
And that's how the scales can tip so easy. We're told one drop. We're having a completely different conversation today. He picks up that 1st down. We're like, man, Kellen Moore, because we like to say it's Kellen Moore when they do well, and we like to blame Nick Sirianni when they don't do well, right?
Thank
but
you.
we would be saying, oh my God, the ball's on this guy. What a gutsy play. They never saw it coming. But now that it didn't work, you see, my problem is not with the play because the play worked. It worked. And I can understand the whole running out the clock aspect to it. They drove down the field in a little over a minute.
4
plays. That extra clock time didn't mean who got. There's enough evidence there between the play worked and they ran down the field in 4 plays and scored on your asses to say it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, it would have mattered because if you had got that, let's say you run it and you run down to 48 seconds.
I know what you're going to say.
Okay, so I run it down 48 seconds. I'm at least getting to 2 yards, maybe 3 yards. Then I'm tush pushing to get the first down. Then I walked the game in with no time left because the time was dwindled down so much and you already worked all their timeouts. They had 0 timeouts. So, yes, it does matter. That's the minutia of the game. It doesn't. It's so stupid because it doesn't matter, but it does. And I fully understand what you're saying, but I am just a fan. I don't get paid, and all I can say is, dude, either you're going to be aggressive or you're not. And I put the distinction for our show. Kellen Moore calls the plays of the game. Until it comes down to 4th down plays and whether you go for it or kick a field goal, timeouts, and maybe a trick play, Nick Sirianni has nothing to do with this offense, which is also the reason why I even have him there. But we'll get to that later. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the play didn't work. It's Nick's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good play.
Right.
It was a good play. It just didn't get executed. That's on the players not executing. But I'm not going to sit here and say, I got other stuff to blame on Nick, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say, oh, the plays didn't work. Nick called those plays.
So, and thank you, because we'll get off this topic. We're kind of beating the horse here, but I'll say 2 things. The first being, I'm kind of glad. I'm not glad, but you had mentioned we'd be having a completely different conversation if, they won the game. Part of me looks at that and I say, well, I'm kind of glad they didn't win the game now. Because not that I'm glad they didn't win the game, but we'd be sitting here talking, we'd be sitting here talking about, oh, the stone's on that guy. Oh, they're aggressive. You can't stop them. They're 2-0. We're not talking about the Commanders. We feel like we're riding high going into a matchup against the Saints. When the reality is, because they lost, now we're sitting here, we're not covering our eyes like we did last year when they were 10-1, and we knew that there were some warts and they probably had some holes that were going to get exposed at some point, but they were winning, so we kind of shut up about it. Now we're sitting here saying that defense is a problem. That front isn't getting any pressure. All right, I still see some questionable decisions, because we'll get into this. I still see some questionable decisions from my quarterback. You don't have A.J. Brown. This offense is a little stale. Where the hell's Dallas Goedert? Is Jahan Dotson playing? There's just things that now we're forced to pay attention to by way of Negadelphia or by way of caring about it that I think we would have glossed over, not cared about, was staring us in the face, what we decided to put some shady rays on, if you will, and not pay attention to it.
Speaking of that,
you feel me?
Get to betting and not being ordinary.
Get to betting and not being ordinary?
You took it right out of my mouth, because what's ordinary for the Eagles is a pass rush. What's ordinary for the Eagles is being aggressive and having success with that aggressiveness. Do you know what's never ordinary? Bet365. Bet365 is never ordinary. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide. Bet365 live streams 780,000 events per year. Early payout offers across NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB, and pioneered live in-game betting. Today, Bet365 offers the wide. I see you guys plotting over there. Don't even do it.
Nobody's plotting.
I see you guys plotting over there. Offers the widest range of games and markets available for in-game betting across 78 sports. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Just $5. Use code PHLY365. That's PHLY365 to sign up, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5. And you get $200 in bonus bets. You might be betting on some of those other apps. I've bet on some of those other apps. Give Bet365 a try. Take this and use it to your advantage. We are giving you money. We are just literally handing it to you. All right? You deposit 10, you bet 5, you get $200 to bet on whatever you want. It can be in-game, it can be the spread, it can be on any sport that you want. Football, it's never ordinary at Bet365. See for yourself with our SGP Sundays offer. Place qualifying parlay bets totaling $20 or more on Sunday's NFL games and get $25 in bonus bets. Again, we're just giving away free money. Terms and conditions apply. Download the app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whenever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. If you know somebody who is having a gambling problem or think might have a gambling problem, Call 1-800-GAMBLER and seek some help. But if you don't need to seek help at Bet365. Get some $200 in bonus bets and get on the betting train. Speaking of which, my betting account, I always put $100 in the betting account for Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Because now that I'm getting a little older in age, it's kind of hard to keep my attention. You know what I mean? Like those games are getting late and I'm getting a little tired, right?
Oh, so you're in bed by halftime.
Not by halftime, but I got one eye open by halftime, and I usually use like the betting apps to just kind of some skin in the game. That way you have something to look forward to. $100 week 2 already gone.
Yep,
already gone.
You probably bet it on the Eagles, didn't you?
So come to me for the Bet365 and use the code PHLY365, but do not come to me for betting advice. It's terrible.
No, don't. You guys golfers at all? You guys golf?
No. I made my kid learn how to golf because I don't golf.
Well, you're a smart man.
Yeah.
You don't golf?
I don't golf.
So I spent the weekend actually in Wisconsin. I went to a couple golf courses out in Wisconsin. Okay. Shout out to my Sand Valley crew. Sand Valley, Sedge Valley, the little sandbox, Lido,
Wisconsin,
Mammoth Dunes. And you know what I had with me at all times?
What's that?
It's already halfway gone, but a cold Miller Lite.
Here we go.
You know what happens what happens on a golf course?
What's that?
When you're standing up on the box.
What's that?
And you pipe one down the middle about 280, 290. Miller time. You take that second shot 90 degrees right into the woods. Miller time. Recovery shot 3 feet within the pin, break open, a cold Miller Lite, and then you 3-putt. Miller Lite. Right? That's what I'm saying. Miller Lights were in the bag at all times. Couple gummies too, but that's neither here nor there. Now, you don't have to choose what's best with Miller Lite. That's the truth. Miller Lite has great taste and less filling, which tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY Birds, or you can find it just about anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces, fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beers. This stays on the ready. I saw the face. I saw the face with the gummy comment.
Yeah, his face was more for the golf. See, when you talk about
I didn't say what type of gummy. How do you know it wasn't a vitamin C gummy?
When you talk about fishing, that's how people look at you when you talk about fishing. Same when you talk about golf. He's talking about 3-putt and a Scooby snack or something.
You got to ask Scooby snacks.
You were looking at him.
Well, actually, Scooby snacks are something totally different.
You were looking at him like, what? That's how we'd be like, yeah, I was out with the fish at the deep sea with the wrong pole because the other fish jumped on the back of the other because the whale came through, right? Because you don't know how it is. That's how it sounds.
And then I told the fish, plug in the code PHLY 365, and then you got it.
And he got beer delivered to his window.
Right? That's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, golf, yeah.
That game was a mess. They did not focus. Let's stay on task here because I love the fact that we just on the fly came up with the top 10 reasons to blame the Eagles for losing. Where would you put that final play call or that final sequence?
Number 10.
Number 10?
I'd put it at 10. There was a whole game played before that. And to the point, when we talked about stay aggressive and the minutia of the game, that's what Nick was taking into account. I don't think Nick ever intended to go for it on 4th down. I think he looked at it and said, "This 3rd down, this is my play. 3rd down, this is my down. I'm going to pick it up. We're either going to score, I'm going to pick it up, or at worst, it's a completion, and then Atlanta still has to use that final timeout." If
that's true, that he's not the aggressive guy that you led with earlier.
Well, he's throwing the ball in a situation you wouldn't necessarily throw it. That's pretty aggressive, and he's gotten ripped for it.
Then stay aggressive.
But there's reasons. There's nuance to a football game, and that nuance is I got three and 3/4 of football that says these guys can't move the ball on us. Yeah. That maybe, and even if they do, we'll get stingy in the red zone and we'll give up 3, but they need 6, and they haven't shown me at all through the entire game that they can do that.
Then go be aggressive and leave them on the 3-yard line and make them drive 97 yards in that time frame and hold them down if you're going to do that. Again, neither here nor there. It's all
but being up 3 and being up 6 is a totally different ballgame.
It is a different ballgame.
Totally different ballgame.
I guess so. We'll never know.
We'll never know. It's very true. We'll never know.
That doesn't even matter.
So, Jason, while you were locked up overseas, and it was me and BG, Ronan pilot, co-pilot here last week, we talked. A lot of the talk was about Jalen Hurts and what he did right, what he did wrong, the hero ball, playing good, except for the 4 plays when he either got 2 picks or almost had another 2 picks. I really thought that Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal game. We talked about game manager and how that sometimes is a negative connotation when it comes to quarterbacks. And I thought Jalen Hurts did exactly that. He made the adjustment to being a game manager. He was incredibly safe with the ball. incredibly safe with the ball.
I don't know. I
Almost
don't agree
too
with that.
safe. He was patting the ball a lot too.
Yeah, I don't know.
When
if
he
I
should
agree
have got
with
rid of the ball, he was holding on to it. But he was doing that because he was worried about throwing into those double coverages. He was actually looking down the field and saying, these guys aren't getting open. Because let me just put out a stat that I don't have a graphic for, but something I looked up and saw that somebody posted. Dotson is the second most intercepted wide receiver in the NFL. Meaning, with the amount of targets that he gets, he has 11 interceptions on pass plays to him. The only person above him has 12. The next wide receiver has 6, which means when I throw the ball at you, are you running the right route? Are you fighting for the ball? You're letting a defender come and take it over you. So he's not a breakaway guy, a get open guy, maybe not a clean route guy, because if you're getting that many picks on balls thrown to you, the first game, that first pass that was picked off, it was to Dotson. So, hey, now I'm sitting there patting this ball. I can't trust throwing you the ball because I don't know if you're going to fight for it. I don't know if you're going to break away and do what I want you to do. So Jalen, things played excellent until the last drive when he did what his biggest problem is. He did not do the check down thing. He did not do the 2-minute drill the way it needs to be done. Take what's given to you. Stop trying to take these big plays. You've got a great kicker, one of the best kickers in the league. You wouldn't think so because you didn't use him that much, but he's there. Throw the ball down, get out of bounds. You have 2 timeouts. You don't need to go 30 yards down the field to Smith.
But in the grand scheme of things, are we murdering Jalen Hurts over that last pick, or are we looking at this?
He's in the top 10. He's in the top 10.
He's in the top 10.
Yeah.
But where are you placing him?
I put him at 9 or 8.
Yeah.
9 or 8?
Yeah, in that range.
How'd you feel about the way Jalen played?
Look, it's hard. There's a couple things I saw when watching the game. The first thing that I believe now to be true, and it's unfortunate to say this, is we're not going to see the legs of 2022.
No.
They're
not there.
Now, and it's hard to say that on a night where he runs for 85 yards.
But he's running hard.
Right? Okay. Now if we want to look, at some point in the show, because I knew this was all going to be negative, and it was hard for me not to have football conversations with people because I wanted to wait for the show, right? But I purposely tried to find positives because I knew all the conversation was going to be so negative. So I actually have found some positives if we have time for it at the end of the show. But yes, it's hard for me to make that statement on a night where the guy runs for 85 yards. But when you look at it, was it 85? Is that what it was? Yeah, something like that, right? When you look at it, that burst still, to me, isn't there. That suddenness that I think we saw flashes of in 21 and 22, it's just not there. Now, if they can create different designed runs for him, much like they did on Monday night, then fine, fair enough. His performance as a whole, I think it's interesting that we're sitting here critiquing Jahan Dotson now. And that now we're talking about his interceptions thrown to him. Now we're saying he can't do this or he can't do that. But when we traded for him, it was, this is the greatest offense in history. You know, we were all hype, and now they lose a game, and we're all real sober about the offensive weapons. He didn't have A.J. Brown, so that obviously limited a lot they could do. But I'm telling you right now, I don't like what I see from the offense. It's not as simple as A.J. Brown. The offense is no longer run by Nick Sirianni. So I'm trying to judge what I think of Jalen Hurts. And the only thing I can do is look at that last series where he played hero ball. But again, the reality is we had 4 quarters of long developing routes. Jalen was back in the pocket. He seemed to have all day at times. And nobody's open? So is he not making a read, or are these, again, some long developing routes that we can't blame on Nick Sirianni, but we brought in Kellen Moore to scheme guys open for some easy completions? Where the hell are they? Okay. I'm just seeing Jalen drop back 5-7 steps, patting the ball, looking to give it to somebody, and nobody's open? Like repeatedly? So it's hard for me to judge. I don't know what I think of Jalen Hurts.
So 9, Jalen Hurts. Can we agree on that?
I think that's fair.
9 would be good.
And also, I don't know what you guys are looking at. Jalen Hurts looked as fast as he ever did. And it's something I think that is called throttling and self-protection. You look at what Tua does, and he doesn't know how to run, and he runs directly into people and gets hit.
Yeah. God damn, that's an excellent point.
Monday, Jalen Hurts put on the Jets, because I have 2 people that text me all the time. They're like, he's never going to run the same speed. They both texted me. The first 2 runs are like, see how slow he is? Then 2 runs after that, when he breaks off 10 and 12 and he runs by people, he's protecting himself. And when he gets to the open space and he knows no one's around him, he throws on those jets. Otherwise, he's running cautiously because, like, look, bro, I might need to get down. He's not taking those hits out of bounds. And then when he is seeing people, he's going directly in them to make the contact to protect himself. So I don't know if he's a 4.5 versus a 4.4, but on Monday night, on 4 of those 7 runs, he looked like he was lightning quick. I also don't need him doing design runs anymore. I want to run when the play breaks down and everybody's got their back to him. I'm tired of the lineman being downfield, and I'm tired of RPO.
Yeah, well, yeah, they get rid of the RPO, which is a fundamental staple of that offense. And if you're telling me you don't want that anymore, fine, I agree. I don't see what you see. I think it's vertical speed. I think it's north to south speed. Okay, fine, that's there. But so much of what made him dynamic in 2022 was him to be able to get outside on the edge, get around that corner, then turn it upfield. And I could be 100% wrong. We've got 15 more weeks to figure this out.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't see the same type of burst, speed, agility, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know why. Is that a decisive is he making that decision to throttle like you're talking about?
Self-protection.
Maybe you're right.
I'm worth $250 million. I can't go down. When the team gets injured, we don't play the same. I have to have my head on a swivel.
They didn't play the same on Monday night.
I don't think that's just the voices inside of his own head.
No.
I think he's being told that. Like, listen, do not put yourself, and I got to give you your flowers, your credit, your props, whatever it is. The Tua comparison, absolutely appropriate. Because when you have a dude running recklessly like that, that's what happens.
Over and over.
We're all sitting here.
Hold on.
What?
First of all, the first time he crinkled up, it was in the pocket, right? He just got crunched in the pocket. This Tua we're talking about. This concussion, it wasn't like he was going full. It was Damar Hamlin of all people.
I know, which was weird.
Tua's head, Damar's chest. It was very ironic.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, he ran into his bicep or whatever. It wasn't even like he was head hunting. It was just I legitimately think he's just built different, Tua. He is not built for the NFL.
He also wasn't aware there's a guy coming directly at him to slide and protect himself. Then he didn't slide and protect himself. And some guys don't do that.
Which is smart. But I think regardless of the Tua Jalen Hurts comparison, I think we can all agree that we don't want Jalen being reckless with the runs. We want him protecting himself because you were 100% right. One injury to QB1.
It's Tanner time.
Yeah, well, hold on.
Oh, my God.
So dive
it's
into
top
that,
10
though.
pick time.
It's Tanner time.
But dive into that, because why were the Eagles dynamic? They weren't dynamic, but why were the Eagles successful at least a little bit on Monday night? It was him running the football. So I'll tell you, hey, be careful, throttle down, don't get hurt if you're able to move the ball with your arm. If you're able to threaten the defense, they didn't move the ball at all through the air. It was him running the football. So I'll tell you, hey, if you go, we can't be who we want to be on offense if you're hurt, obviously, but they're moving the chains because of him running. He didn't throw for 300 yards and 3 scores, and they just couldn't stop him. What's that?
They also moved the chains from a running back running.
But that's what I was when he was going to wrap up. This is exactly what I was going to say. Like Saquon Barkley was going off
8, 9, 11
at a clip in the beginning of the game. They couldn't stop it, and then all of a sudden they got away with it.
I mean,
they
got away 22 runs.
Yeah, I know, but it's also there's the same argument of like, what's a win worth to you? Like people are saying, well, you can't run Barkley on every single play. You can't run him into the ground. It's only weak. They couldn't stop it, and they got away from it.
You can run.
I agree.
Brandon Graham into the ground, though. Apparently.
Yeah,
I know, right? Well, he's the only one getting any burn.
Like, what are we doing here? Don't stop doing it. It's like it's the reverse Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Andy Reid would run the ball, and Peterson was just as guilty about that. He had a little bit of the Andy-itis. He'd run the ball. It's working great, and then he would just forget how to run the ball, and then we'd go to the passing play, and it wouldn't work out. This was like the first time in as long as I can remember, like the run was working. Yeah. My God, we opened up with it, and we're jamming it down their throats. They can't stop. Why? Whoa. Why are we getting away from that? Yeah. Why are we getting away from that? And especially with
And to open the drives, I'll say this. In Brazil, Saquon slipped, but then the next subsequent 4 plays in a row, you don't even try to run again. Then on Monday night, the first play, pass to the tight end. Second play, pass to the tight end. Third play, pass to Covey. Oh, you're punting. Then you come out again and you pass to the tight end. It takes you to the 5th play to give Saquon the ball when then he runs for 9 yards. You give him the ball again, he runs for 8.5 yards. Like, bro, what are you doing to not start the game off with your bell cow? And I understand, like, even what you said about the throw late to him. They're loading up in the box. They had 8 dudes in the box and he was getting 9 yards a clip. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't care.
When you stop it, I'll do something else.
So Kellen's got to do something. Now everybody's trying to kill Jalen Hurts for not being under center more, not throwing over the middle. The Falcons safeties and linebackers are really good in coverage. That's why we didn't throw over the middle. I mean, I'm not going to go today and go, like you said, negative, go crazy. Dallas Goedert sucks. He's not getting, like, bro, he was being actually covered by real linebackers and real safeties. Like, I'm sorry that he wasn't getting free.
Okay. All right. But hold on. Yes, I agree with you. Right. But we talk about him like he's a top five tight end, right?
Yes.
Right.
And
that's
all
fair.
the time.
For a while there, the NFL was talking about him like a top 5 tight end. And again, I'm going to recant back to this all-world offense. I was a part of it. How are they going to stop him? You go through A.J. Brown, you go through Devontae Smith, you go through Jahan Dotson, you go to Dallas Goedert and Saquon. We started listing them all. So if you're telling me that, oh, well, the Falcons actually have a competent linebacker group, and they actually have some safeties that can cover. So Dallas Goedert, you don't need to stand down. You don't need to do your job. To me, that's horse manure.
So there was
like if he's going to be this dynamic tight end, then get open.
Yeah, you said a name a couple times, and I've been waiting to get to it because this is, besides 1 being everyone and 2 being the pass rush, this to me is definitely worthy of the 3 spot.
Oh, you're going 3. I was going to give him 4, but go ahead.
The coordinators, man, like you impressed the hell out of me in week 1 by scheming guys open. Smitty was getting the ball by scheming them open. I thought the offense schematically was fantastic. Jalen Hurts made his mistakes, but schematically the offense was great. Kellen Moore got outcoached. Defensively, Vic Fangio, you know your pass rush isn't anywhere close to getting home. They're not even sniffing. They're in the parking lot. They're in P-lot behind Citizens Bank Park. They're not even close to the quarterback. Why don't we try something else? Why don't we try dialing up blitzes? Why don't we try bringing some – just try something. I feel like the coordinators, both Kellen and Vic, got woefully outcoached in this game.
I agree. And the defensively, you ain't blaming Jonathan Gannon anymore. You can't blame Sean Desai anymore.
No.
It ain't Matt Patricia anymore. It's the Godfather, the one that we all said, okay, well, stop with the mini-me's, go get the guy. You got the guy, and here are the results. I actually was putting Vic at 3.
Okay.
For me, I'm putting Vic at 3. I'll put Kellen at 4.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to give him the grace of just kind of lumping the coordinators in together.
Okay.
I'm going to say
fair.
that decisively, Vic was worse than Kellen.
Okay.
Because, again, Kellen drew up, whether it's Kellen or Nick or whoever it is, but it wasn't Brian Johnson, so you can't blame him. And it's not Nick's offense, but he drew up the play at the end, and it worked. Well, it didn't work, but it was there.
Right.
And ultimately, I think I just put Vic's deficiencies over Kellen's for me, but they're definitely in that 3-4 spot.
Great. What do you think about the coordinators, man? Because they were just driving me nuts on Monday night.
So I like the way Vic Fangio speaks. I don't like the result of what's being on the field. He talks really tough, but when I open the door, it's not a pit bull, it's a chihuahua back there. And I'm saying to myself, okay, so Jalen Carter couldn't start on the first series because he was late to work or whatever, and so you start him in the second series. Well, how about this? How about instead of punishing guys with like lateness or not getting to play a series, how about you put them on the treadmill? Now, if you're listening to this on audio, I'm an overweight person. I'm the only one on this panel that's overweight. But I'll tell you something. If you just gave me $2 million, I'd look like one of these dudes inside of 3 months.
3 months?
3 months. You give me $2 million, I guarantee you inside of 3 months. Far be it from my looks and stature. I used to be a gym rat and go all the time. I know how to lose weight. I just love pasta and sitting on my butt not doing anything. But I could do it. I ate tuna fish for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 6 months. I can cut weight. I wrestled. I know how to lose weight. 3 months, give me $2 million, I'll do it. Let alone you give me $30 million. When I'm watching Jordan Davis and Carter huff and puff on the second drive in the second week of the NFL, that's absolutely embarrassing. And I say huff and puff very loosely because I got Huff not doing enough at the end. Then I got Nolan Smith, can't get a whiff, getting punked by Bijan. I could rhyme all day at this piece because it was that embarrassing. I got nothing but time and looking at my ceiling, looking at what are you doing, Vic? Put these puppies on the treadmill, okay? And you know what? I hate this list right now because this list pisses me off. Let me do what we need to do, and then we're going to talk about this list. First of all, if you're this far into it, the diehards, I appreciate y'all. let's throw a little thing up there and talk about you diehards. And if you're not a diehard, you might want to go ahead and become a diehard. Why would you want to become a diehard? Because again, I say it every week, but it's true. If you're in the Discord, you can live a life like I'm living. With people like these guys, I'm in the text messages, we hanging out. That's kind of like what the Discord's like. You get out of the trash Instagram comments, you get a little bit more direct contact with people. You get 20% off some gear. You can go get cool shirts like E-Rock. Me and Jason trying to get on the level of E-Rock. We trying our best, you know what I mean? But he don't want to answer the call with me and Jason try to ask for a little something, you know what I mean? He don't give us the hat info. He don't give us the T-shirt info. But me and Jason just regular people, you know? We're doing the best we can. And just like you, as a diehard, do the best you can. Go in there and get yourself 20% off. Go in there and read all the things that we got provided for you. As a matter of fact, go ahead and get signed up, because if you do, Zach Berman's got a book that's dropping. You come down here for a diehard party in the studio. You know what I mean? You got to pay a little shekels for it. But with that, you get an autograph picture. You get the book signed. The forward, I think, was done by Malcolm Jenkins. And then you get to hear maybe an excerpt from the book from Zachariah himself. I'm just saying, if you're a diehard, you can do stuff like that. You can come down. They might even have some snacks for your boy. Because we just out here trying to live and get our own personal 20% off and try to be E-Rocks when we grow up. And you can get a little taste of that if you become a diehard. You see what I'm saying? You hear me, Jay? I know the lights is bright. So go ahead and tell about what you need to help yourself out.
I mean, I'm trying, but you're getting in it.
Oh, yeah.
You're too deep for me right now. How am I supposed to follow this?
When you're a diehard, it's always Christmas. You see what I'm saying?
The lights are bright. See, I
Christmas.
actually took my glasses off, which is counterproductive. I should put them back on for a read.
You look smart.
But it is bright. I look smart?
I almost believe half the stuff you say.
Then let me put them back on. Let me put them back on right now. What I need to be putting on when these lights are as bright as they are some Shady Rays. Now, you talk about all the people that kind of hit you up with the T-shirts and things like that. Shady Rays needs to because I'm looking around. I don't know where the Shady Rays are. I've been looking. Are the Shady Rays by you? You got them in the side pocket? Where are the Shady Rays at? Oh, we have them? See, we do have. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the problem.
Hold on, let me get these boys.
Everybody's taking these.
So pick your
I get red.
Everybody's taking these things home.
Let me go here.
They're disappearing.
There have been a lot of noses in this. I got to clean them off a little bit. But the thing I like about Shady Rays, honestly, the true story about Shady Rays is, obviously it's a polarized lens. But what I love about him is your boy likes to look good, right? And so first of all, you got a pair on too. You could have picked anyone you want. You're going to look good. But I'm frugal. I've been known to be frugal. I don't like to break the bank on a pair of sunglasses, because the truth is I'll lose them. I'll break them. Somebody will steal them. Bottom line, right? If it's a $2 pair, I'll have them for 10 years. If I actually spend some money on them, they're gone.
2 weeks.
The beauty about Shady Rays is they have an insane protection program, right? So if you lose them, you break them, they've got you covered with replacements. If you don't love them, you've got 30 days risk-free to send them on back. The truth is that there's absolutely no risk involved. Get yourself some Shady Rays. We got a special going on if you'd like to hear about it. You guys want to hear about it?
I do want to hear about it.
Or you'd like to hear about it? Here
it
goes. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to ShadyRays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, myself included. How about that?
I love it.
See, it's not as boisterous as your boy Gray. Don't they look good, though?
It is looking good. I'm watching the monitor right now. It does look good. And by the way, if you're going to get yourself a pair of sunglasses, make sure they're polarized. Speaking of things that are polarizing, is this list from Black Gritty. What's the beef with the list?
Segue.
So, I said everyone. That's the first thing up there, right?
That is indeed the first one up there.
So it's funny because I'm not really good at spelling things, but the way you wrote it down is misspelled. It should say Roseman.
Oh, that's number 5.
No, that's number everyone.
No, that's number 5.
That's number
I
everyone.
knew this was coming.
So
here comes the seasoning.
When we're sitting around and we're all, like I said, we're all angry, right? They lost. Like if they would have won, we would have, like you said, win is a win. You know, they found a way to win. It's gutsy. You say all that stuff. But when a loss is a loss, you start looking around at everything. You know, I'm taking shots at Dom. Everybody can get it, right? But when you sit here and you want to ask me about Vic Fangio, about the godfather of a defense that we all hate, and we've all, as fans, no matter who you talk to, want Jim Johnson blitzkrieg. We get that's not how the Eagles want to play defense anymore. So we get the Gannons, we get the Mini-Me's, then we go get the Godfather. Well, guess what? We don't like any of that in our hearts and our souls the way we feel. But that's what Howie likes. That's what Howie wants, because he keeps bringing in the same circus clowns doing the same show, and then we expect a difference. Then I get Kellen Moore, who... you wouldn't hire him as a head coach. He can't get a job as a head coach. And I actually like him, so I'm not going to kick him in the back too much. But I'm saying there's a reason why nobody's taking him as a head coach, right? They stole Gannon from you. They stole these other people from you. This guy keeps getting interviews, can't get the job done. So what is that about, okay? Then you had 8 full days of non-commitment to Nick Sirianni, and you come back and you give him the job. Why did you give this man the job when everybody expected you to move on from him? He probably expected you to move on from him. And he comes back here, and I'm not supposed to blame him for anything because now it's Kellen Moore's issue? Then I'm going to come back to Nick because I'm going to end with Nick. Then I got the players that nobody wants to believe in, all the Georgia dogs that can't hunt. Who drafted him? Howie, football guy, bang on his chest. The Dawson, you said, whenever we think Howie's making moves and getting big plays off, it doesn't seem to work out. Tate, anyone? I could go through the list of things that are mistakes. And again, I appreciate Howie for his money. So I'll come back to the last thing with Nick Sirianni. Could you bring up, Brianna, please, the clip of him in the after the Eagles won in Brazil? So the Eagles go out and they win. And let's watch this clip from Nick Sirianni, if we could play that.
Guys, it's not about who's the toughest. It's about who's the toughest the longest, right? And that's because of how you guys have worked. It's our habits of how you guys have worked. That was round 1. We got 17 rounds. All right, that was just round 1. Feels good, though, to win round 1, doesn't it? Everybody's role is not the same, but everybody's role is important. It takes every one of us. All right, love this team, love these guys, love you guys. Hey, let's enjoy this trip back. Let's enjoy this trip back. We got a lot to be thankful for. Let's take a knee.
So thank you. What did you notice about that clip, E-Rock? Anything out of that?
He was doing what I do a lot, is glancing at his notes.
Yeah.
I hate that.
So
I do hate that.
So you need to. We did great. Round 17. Rocky quote. Yeah, they're going to eat that up. Oh, that didn't work? We love each other, and we're sticking together to do our best. Okay. You got to read notes to say that. Oh, okay. I let it go last week. I didn't say anything about it. But then this week, you get your butt whipped on Monday Night Football. Dom's in a suit. Kelsey's in a suit. We're moonwalking on people. Every social media star besides E-Rock was on Monday Night Countdown, pumping and bumping and jumping. The lights were bright. It was Nick Foles night. Everything was going right. And then you take that L, you walk into the locker room, and who speaks? Jalen Hurts, not my head coach, which harkens back to when you got your butt beat by the 49ers. When the team loses, he doesn't speak, and you can shake your head all you want to. When the times are tough, my guy's not leading his team. You have no other job because you're not the coordinator anymore. You're the head coach. You're the first person to lead a message. And if Jalen wants to be the new captain and speak, that's great. But it's you as the barking dog and talking head figure jumping and bumping on the sidelines, walking that room when all their heads are down and have nothing to say, and you give me lackluster note reading? I'm lucky I don't have the clip of the Falcons locker room afterwards because they thought they were in a little punk Super Bowl throwing water all over each other, and their coach wasn't reading notes when he's talking about his team's victory. He was speaking from his heart and hyping up his guys, and they were all whoopty-whooping. You could barely hear anybody say yeah when Nick was talking to them. So go ahead and shake your head about it, but
this is
thanks, Howie.
This is so Negadelphia.
This is real. That's real life.
No,
I
it's
just
not.
showed
But that's
it to
my
you.
point. It's not real. It's not real. It's week 2. It's overreaction. Because the reality is, Nick Sirianni has always read off a card. He didn't wait to lose to the Falcons to start reading off a card.
No, he didn't read off. He didn't do anything after the loss. That's my problem.
I haven't
he read
liked
off a card
it.
in the win.
I haven't liked this in his post-game locker room speeches his entire career in Philadelphia. I have noticed that, and I haven't liked it at all. I haven't said anything before after the wins, so I'm not going to say anything after the loss. That's the first thing.
But he didn't read off
thing,
a card after the loss. He doesn't speak to the team.
The second thing
It's
is
not
we
the
have
same.
been. The second thing is we have been pining. We have been begging Jalen Hurts to be a leader, to be more vocal, to take more responsibility. And now he does it and gives an impassioned speech to the locker room after a loss and encourages his guys to do their job, focus on the details, let's get back to work. And now instead of appreciating Jalen taking that step, which we've asked him to do, we're going to say, well, hold on. Let's find a way to be negative about this. Coach, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. When the reality is he walked into the locker room and Jalen had already grabbed his guys and was trying to get the team together, exactly what we've asked him to do. I hear what you're saying.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I legitimately do.
You just conflated two things I said repeatedly.
Go ahead.
So you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Go ahead, repeat it then.
I'm not saying just in wins. I'm talking about when we lose.
Yeah.
You kept saying, well, when he wins, it's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
So you're saying he does not give any locker room, he doesn't talk to his team at all after a loss. That's what you're saying.
After these big losses, that's what it seems to be.
No, is that what it seems to be, or is that what it is?
The 2 losses that were really bad losses, he's not talking to the team.
No, he came in the locker room and Jalen was already talking to the team. How do you know what he said or didn't say?
I'm going by what was reported. And what he said today on his interview. He was interviewed this morning and said, Jalen spoke to the team.
Correct.
Again, I'm happy that Jalen spoke. I wasn't one of those ones that said he wasn't a leader. But I'm saying, hey, good, you spoke to the team? Hey, I got to speak to the team too, bro, because this is my team. This is my job. I'm already under fire for not having anything to do. And when I'm on the sideline yelling at my ladder because he forgot to flinch when they were doing a hard count, and I walk out there and dog walk him in front of national media, guess what? When I get in that locker room, hey, Jalen, I appreciate what you said, but listen to what I got to say.
That's fair.
I still need to speak because this is my team. It's under my purview. And when he doesn't do it when times are tough, what kind of leader is that?
So I think it's easy to, under a microscope, kind of assess who he is as a coach or a leader, whatever, in a moment. Right. I agree. I want my coach, kind of like that Dan Campbell style, right? I want my coach to get in that ass, right? Like when there's a problem, I want you to address it. I want you to
isolate that audio, please.
Yeah, right. No, but I mean, I want to address it. I'm not a guy who you got to pussyfoot around and you can't really say how you feel. I'm very objective to the point. This is what it is, how you interpret it, how you feel about it. That's totally up to you. But that's not who Nick Sirianni is. After a win, after a loss, he is passionate on a sideline. We know that. But he's not a guy that's going to, in a locker room, dog walk his guys. He's not a guy that, in a locker room, is going to give some speech that makes us want to go to the highest cliff and just fall off it with like, that's not who he is. He never has been. In this moment, would I have liked to seen that? Sure. But that's not who Nick Sirianni is.
But he waters the flowers, and he gives speeches.
Right, but that was even an awkward speech that we gave him crap for.
But the team supported him, and he gave a speech. And you keep putting out moments. I'm going about a microcosm. Yeah. The same thing I said about Slay, I'm not taking apart that one good play. I'm taking it across his tenure as an Eagle, his tenure to blame somebody else for his problems, or to just big up somebody when he can't blame anybody else and be happy about it. I've not seen, the most I saw him angry is when everybody wanted to trade him and he was on his show being pissed off about people not valuing him. That's the most anger I've ever seen out of him. Any other time he made a mistake, it's somebody else's fault, and it's a good play, bro, and it's okay. So I'm not taking moments when I'm saying these things. It's a construct of who they are. If Nick Sirianni wants to water flowers, then water them all the time, bro, because when it's rough out there, we're in a drought, I need a little bit of that water, bro. I need it. And for you not to do it when we're in the worst moments. Again, it was Monday night, Nick Foles, the whole world's watching, all the vibes, our home opener, and to lose in a heartbreaking way like that, I need the guy to speak. When you go get your teeth kicked in by the 49ers, I need you to speak. Because last year when you didn't, the team fed off each other and had that little internal crap because it was a players-only meeting and there was no one to lead them to keep them together. That's my problem. It's not a moment. It's a system that creates a problem.
You know, I never picked up on that, Gritty. I never picked up on the trend, and I'll be curious to see why moving forward, right? Yes. If in a win, it's Nick Sirianni, and listen, we can go back to the opening press conference. You know, people, it doesn't matter whether it's on YouTube and people have said, you've heard callers say, sports talk radio, whatever it might be. Everybody thinks they can do it. Everybody thinks that they can stand up in front of people, stand up in front of a microphone, all eyes on you, bright lights, especially these guys who you work with and who look up to you because you're the head coach. And the media and it's not easy to talk on microphone in the moment, live like we're doing right now. It's not easy to do these reads. It's not easy to say these things. And Nick simply does not excel at it. You take away his index card, you take away his notes, that dude is going to give a 33-minute post-game speech because he is just going to be rambling, talking about his brother and when they played high school football and how his dad was a coach. I give him credit for just keeping the main thing, and just sticking to the script.
I'll take that, I guess.
But I also see where he's coming from in the fact that, listen, I know the Eagles media department. I know their social media people. The locker room is a very sacred place. They only let you see what they want you to see. So there might be snippets where Jalen talks, but then Nick talks afterwards and says what he got to say, but it's more important that we focus on what Jalen said. So that is what you're going to see. Maybe Jalen was all pissed off in the locker room after week 1, after those interceptions or potential interceptions, feeling, taking accountability, feeling some kind of way about it. Maybe he didn't want to address the team. Maybe he wanted, and so that's when Nick's got to go and write, jot down on with Sharpie, the bullet points that he wants to say and make it up on the fly, which, by the way, he is not good at doing. So I know they see what they want you to see, but also, too, I'll be curious to see if that's a trend.
I can only go by what's reported. I heard him say this morning.
But it might be a trend.
Fair.
You might be right, but I got to give it some more time to see post-game. You might be on to something.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong, right? Because I don't know either. All I'm trying to say is I highly doubt, could be wrong, I highly doubt Nick just literally said nothing to his team. And when they got back in the building the next morning, still said nothing. Like, he didn't address it. I think the more logical explanation is all offseason from the coach, from the general manager, from the fan base, from sports media, from everybody involved. They said Jalen needs to step up and be the voice of this team, be the vocal leader that we need you to be. So if Jalen is stepping up at the end of a tough loss to be that guy, that crutch, that voice of reason, what is Nick going to go in and say, hey, Jalen, sit down. This is my show. No, that's exactly what Nick has asked him to be. So if he sees his guy doing exactly what he's asked him to do, go ahead, Jalen. Have this moment. That's you. Fair. This is exactly what this team needs right now.
That's a fair point. You know what's not fair? We went from Howie to Nick, and we didn't even place him. We got spots 5, 6, 7, and 8.
5 is Howie to me.
5 is Howie?
5 is Howie. To me. You got him as 1.
Howie controls everything.
Correct.
Howie's the reason that you have the coordinators. Howie's the reason that you have the quarterback. Whatever else you put on that list, Howie Roseman is the reason that you put those things on that list.
But it's week 2. So if they ramble off 3 straight wins, I'm going to look back and say, oh, wasn't I an idiot? I said Howie was the biggest problem on this team.
Well, that'd be a great problem to have, and I'll put Howie back at the top.
Okay.
Let's put that one in the pocket.
I'm going to put an asterisk by
Save
Howie.
that in your back pocket. Because if that happens,
fair.
So where's Nick?
Because that's what would happen.
Where's Nick?
If they went and won 5 games in a row, I couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because even if they won by 1 point, I'd be like, look, they're playing poorly, but he put together a team that's come together. And your statement about having Jalen speak, I'm sorry. I've coached and I've been coached. And I've had leaders and I've had a mice man. I've had the mice guy go up and give a speech. But something I've always had in every single time is my coach or me as a coach talking to the team first. And other players want to come in and rile the team up together or have players-only meetings, that's fine. But asking Jalen to be the voice that has to come in and speak every game isn't the way it goes. A coach speaks. We see it every single week all across the league. So
that's not what I said, though. I'm not asking Jalen to be the voice every single week. I'm not saying that this is alleviates
you actually asked a
Sirianni.
question. You said,
I'm not
what
saying,
if they asked
now you're conflating. Now you're conflating.
I can rewind it. I know exactly
Rewind it, because I said in the moment, if he walked in the locker room and he saw his quarterback taking the reins, addressing the football team, I think it's more logical and likely that Nick took a step back and said, go ahead, big guy. No, you want to step up? You want to be a leader? You want to take control of this locker room? Go for it. I'm interested too. I think it's more likely that happened. Just my personal opinion.
Where do you put Nick?
Well, what spots do we have open?
6, 7, 8.
Probably. I think we'd have to identify 6 and 7, the last 3. But I would probably put him.
We're going to put Nick off to the side.
All right.
Nick off to the side. Penalties. Entirely too many penalties. Untimely penalties. Drive-killing penalties. Yeah. Too many men on down the field on an RPO. Covey got one taken back that was a first down. Saquon got one taken back that was a first down. And when you take a look at all the cumulative stuff, I feel like the penalties get lost in all this mess. Because, okay, schematically, Kellen got out-coached. Jalen, end of the game, hero ball, okay. Saquon drops the pass, the play would have worked. When you take a look at the penalties and the points that they could have had on the board, if it wasn't for just game-killing, drive-killing, just bullshit, they got to tighten this up. Like, having the same penalty, procedural penalty, I know it was annoying in week 1 watching that Ravens game where it was like they're lined up too far from the line of scrimmage, too far. This is like a operational. This is not a before the snap, pre-snap penalty. This is a, guys, let's get on that. We should be on the same page with this RPO shit right now.
If if only what they should start doing is just have a couple games before the actual season starts, where you can kind of work out some of these kinks, right? Well, I don't know, we'll call it like a preseason, something like that. But if they're not gonna that's what you're going through right now. Penalties, it's ugly, it's dirty, it's rusty. I get it, but I think some of it, the illegal man downfield thing, I still can't figure out. I don't know why that routinely is the bugaboo for this line.
Kelsey told you during the game, it's literally just an issue of it's a hard thing to feel, and it's only 1 yard. So when you're blocking for so long and Jalen still got the ball and you think the ball's gone, especially when guys are running around, you look up, you're like, is he running to go get the ball or is he Oh, it's too late. It's already 1 yard down the thing. The penalties, I don't even care about the penalties. Penalties don't matter. The only penalty that matters to me is that one where Malata didn't flinch at the end.
Judon, right?
And the guy jumped.
Yeah. So that's the only penalty that matters to me, because penalties are going to happen again every season. They always get overcalled, and they overshadow penalties too. Like, the Chiefs are the only ones that get every penalty for them called. Everybody else, you can watch 92 times where guys are getting held. I'm not even going to give any of the Eagles any credit for that on defense, because, like I said, you weren't even getting pressure. So you weren't even within close enough to get a pressure. So I can't even complain about them holding you. You're not fighting hard enough to even fight through to show that you're being held. So if you're going to stand back there and be a weak punk about it, then that's what's going to happen to you. Penalties are not even on the list for me, because they're going to happen, and it happens, and they'll figure it out. Stoutland's one of the best offensive line coaches in the league, and the team is very well coached in the offensive line in the trenches. And that's another reason I hate the RPO, because I don't know what's going on back there. Jalen's holding the ball. Did he throw the ball? Is he running the ball? Am I blocking? That is one of the hardest things to do. So I can't even be mad about the penalties, because they're stupid, yes, but I don't even care about the penalties.
I mean, is there something we're missing? We'll put Nick. Are there two areas that we're missing that you think stood out to you or are plaguing this team? Because I'm trying to think legitimately. Okay, well, what else?
Everything. We already did it. Everything's wrong. They've got to fix everything. So you want to move on to talk about the Saints game and how we're gonna
let's just wrap it up with the list.
That's what I told you. I didn't even like the list. There's too many things. Everything's wrong. It's all wrong. Right. They're lost. It's all wrong.
I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this up on the fly. Person number one. Everyone.
Howie Roseman. That's what it sounds like.
Everyone,
including Howie.
Right. Because Howie is included in everyone. Number two. I still can't get over this. The pass rush. Number three, Vic Fangio, just not helping out his D-line. And especially on that last drive, 4 plays that just march right down. Terrible. 4 is Kellen Moore. 5 is Howie. Again, Black Gritty has it at the top of the list.
So move Nick down. I'll put Huff there then at 6.
6? Okay.
I will.
Huff at 6.
Because he can't be the end all be all, but he's got to show up even a little bit.
If you're gonna name out one single person,
because he's the darling, right? He's the big sign.
Then Saquon's got to go higher.
This list just went up.
He ran for almost a.
I don't care. He dropped the game closing.
100%. That's one
I'm just
play.
Saying, one person. The D-line's fine. Huff was terrible, but they all were terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody else did anything. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to stick up for Huff. I'm trying to stick up for naming somebody individually. Is what I'm saying.
My man Ashworth was just trying to help me out because we had
I'm just trying to fill space.
Okay.
Slot
my
that
bad. I told you I didn't like the list. Just take less people off the list.
Yeah, listen,
they're all wrong.
It was an idea on the fly. Number 1, everybody. Number 2, pass rush. Number 3, Vic Fangio. 4, Kellen Moore. 5, Howie, which is the bane of Black Gritty's existence. 6 is going to be Huff. 7 is going to be Nick. 8.
Black hole. We don't know.
I had Jalen Hurts penciled in there because I think he played a phenomenal game.
I don't think he was phenomenal, so I'm okay with him being 8.
Okay, 8. 9 was the play sequence on the final drive, and 10 was penalties. If I'm going to put an honorable mention, apparently it's Big Dom. I don't know how the hell that happened, but we'll do an honorable mention, Big Dom.
And by the way, just again, I love Dom. Don't kill me. I love Dom. I fully understand that he is a great individual. I just don't. And you said something else to him. I'm going to admit to it. I didn't like Nick Sirianni the first time I heard him open his mouth, and it's only gone downhill from there. The fact that Dom has to pat him on the back and walk him around everywhere and corral him. The only other head coach that I know that has someone even close to a Dom on the sideline is Sean McVay. He's got a line guy.
Yeah, he's got
the line guy.
He's got his get back guy
because he starts going crazy all the time. The dude's got to snatch him up and yank him. That's the only other coach that I know that doesn't go to another assistant coach or another teammate. Like Dom is Batman to me. He's supposed to be in the shadows, and I'm supposed to fear him. When I see him out there hugging and grabbing Turner Johnson on the sidelines, I'm like, you're supposed to be scary. Be scary. Be the ninja of the night. So I'm sorry Dom's even on the list. Take him off the list. I'm not trying to disappear. I trust Dom.
I was gonna say, man, you gotta watch it.
Let me tell you something. When I said I love Dom, I'll tell you this. I trust Dom to protect me over the Secret Service right now. Facts, 100%. If my life was in danger and I had to choose, I'm choosing you, Dom. I just need you to stop being big sexy in front of the camera. That's all I'm saying.
Dom, I appreciate you getting me on the field pregame before.
I'm never getting anywhere. He's gonna put me in the corner.
He's gonna see you and be like, "You're in, out of here." He's gonna kick you right out of the stadium, bro.
He's gonna throw me out the door like Uncle Phil used to do that. He's gonna toss me.
All right, so on top of this complete shit show of a game and subsequent shit show of a list, trying to put together the blame game here, we have got New Orleans on deck, which in the beginning of the season did not, we kind of like penciled that one in as, we're going to be fine there. We're going to be fine there. As they lead the league in touchdowns with 11 and are throwing up, on average, well north of a 40 burger per game. What the hell are we going to do against the New Orleans Saints to try to slow them down and to pick this offense up and walk out of the Big Easy with a win?
Hold on a second. Don't shake your head. Now is the time for you to do what you said you're going to do. Beginning of the show, you said
be
you had positive in your pistol. So don't shake your head. He's coming to you right now. It's the end of the show. You pull out them pistols and start shooting and spraying positivity. That's what your job is to do. Don't. He's
checking the notes. He's Nick Sirianni. He's checking the notes.
And like I said, when I repeat stuff, I'm listening. I don't need the notes. I'm telling you, pull them pistols out and start pew, pew, pew. Save us, Jason. What's positive? We need it.
I'm looking to find positives, but I didn't say I was going to save the season, boys. I was just going to give you some
when I say the season, I'm trying to say the game. We got to say some positivity.
So, all right, if I'm going to put a spin on it, I don't see how the Eagles win this game. And the spin is, I've been wrong before. Okay. I didn't think Minnesota was going to beat the 49ers. Did you? I didn't think Baltimore was going to be 0-2. Did you?
Nope.
I didn't think the Bengals were going to be 0-2. Did you?
Yes.
So weirder things. You're lying. My point is,
they start every season like 1-5. To be fair,
you ain't wrong. My point is the weirder things have happened, and there are times where I think it's the NFL and it's a week to week league, right? Matchups are individual. I don't know, especially if AJ doesn't play. Maybe they can keep pace. Last week didn't show me that they could. Week 1 did show me that they could. You got, to your point, they put up 40 plus on the Panthers. The Panthers suck. So what do I take from that? I don't know. How did they catch Dallas though? Is Dallas's defense that bad because they lost their DC? Did they just catch Dallas in a funk in a bad game again week to week? I don't. It's so early, which is why a lot of this conversation has always been so hedged for me, because it's week 2. We're still figuring out who the hell the league is. We're still figuring out who the players are, who they're not. I didn't come into the season scared of the Saints. I mean, I thought they would, maybe they'll challenge in the South, but I didn't have them putting up 40 burgers each week. I don't know how the Eagles are going to stop them, not with what we've seen if you can't get a pass rush. And it's not even like they have the outside of Alvin Kamara. And I know Shaheed, was it Shaheed? What's that wide receiver? Shaheed, right? And I know he's a deep threat and he's a burner and they've been finding him in long scores and it's fun and I get all that. But I don't look at their offense, especially with Carr, and think, oh, God, can't stop that. But through 2 weeks, nobody's been able to. So is this the week that they kind of, Eagles get right, Saints come back down to earth, and then we're sitting here week 3 really saying, I have no idea what's going on in the NFL. I don't feel great about it, but weirder things have happened. On paper, I just don't know how they keep pace. Or stop them, I should say.
What do you think's going to happen? You think they're going to be?
He's saving the best for last.
Oh,
you see that? He punted right back.
He's got the Instagram reel already punched up, man. He already knows. Everybody, buckle up. This is what you've all been waiting for. Yep. Gritty's going to bring the heat to close down the show. I can feel the warmth and the heat coming to me. Listen, I said in the beginning of the show, I'm not pushing the panic button yet, but I got the plastic lid to that panic button clicked wide open and my fingers hovering over it because I am damaged goods. I am damaged goods. Last year I was, hey, they're finding ways to win. Who cares? We're winning. This is fun. Everything's great. So on and so forth. And I was ignoring the red flags. It was like dating a crazy girl. All right? She's fun in the beginning. You're having a great time. It's exhilarating, right? But you're ignoring. All your buddies are like, yo, bro, but what about this? Don't worry about it. Yo, bro, what about this? It's going to be fine. Meanwhile, the red flags are ding, 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 ding. I am damaged goods right now.
You're dinging.
Because after week 1, I was like, okay, Brazil, wet field. I still, I like what I saw, but listen, I need to see it at the link for myself. And what I saw at the link for myself, oh my God, just a litany of errors and miscues and finding new and creative ways to blow it on Nick Foles night, on Monday Night Football, at home in front of a national audience. So now I am pre-programmed going into the season looking for the cracks. And in doing so, I have the panic button lid flipped open. If they're able to assemble any kind of a pass rush, if they're able to keep Kamara in check absolutely whatsoever, and if they are able to put together a formulaic, safe, game-managed, but scheming people open against the New Orleans Saints, I will flip that lid back down. But if I see what I saw on Monday night, and I'll be down there seeing it. I'll be down there with Philly Sports Trips. I'm going with Philly Sports Trips. There's tickets available to all the events. PhillySportsTrips.com. I'm DJing a tailgate. First time to New Orleans. I'm looking forward to having a ball, but I am not looking forward to what I am terrified what's going to happen is there is nothing like the walk of shame out of an opposing stadium, especially being an Eagles fan, because we are so loud and boisterous and, okay, we can say it, obnoxious, that when we lose walking out of a stadium, they are 10 times harder on us than anybody else. It is absolutely brutal. I need to see all this. Godspeed. I hope I make it out of there and don't end up in a New Orleans prison like you ended up in a Brazil prison. But from what I saw Monday night, from what I've seen from the Saints so far, I don't see it. Prove me wrong, Eagles. Prove me wrong.
All right, don't go yet now. Don't go. Hold on. Good. Take a breath.
You want to say something?
You ready? No, I don't. I want to prepare myself. I want to prepare E because I feel like you're ready for something.
So it's going to take like 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Let me just tell people about how football works, because a lot of you guys don't know. And if you're here this late, you're probably diehard and you care. People are really upset about how bad the Panthers look. Last year, towards the end of the year, their terrible quarterback had 6 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions, and it looked like he was turning around. They still weren't winning, but the quarterback was turning it around. Their owner, who's a nut job, looked over at the Texans and said, how come they're playing so well in their rookie year? How about we just hire new coaches, some of the underlings from over there, and bring them over here and fire the guys that finally are developing this guy? Then this year you come in and under 2 games, they're already talking about benching him because you removed the comfortability that he was growing into and learning and now gave him new people. So he has to reset and start all over again. Then I get on the internet today and everyone tells me that they'd much rather have Kyler Murray than Jalen Hurts. Are you talking about the Kyler Murray who didn't know how to read plays or study the playbook and was playing video games like Michael Vick instead of learning the offense? That guy who was brought in under Kingsbury, and Kingsbury was supposed to be the save-all, get-all? Kingsbury leaves, and now Kyler Murray looks like Dan Marino all of a sudden. And where's Kingsbury at? Oh, he's down in Washington about to ruin another young quarterback. So I say that to tell you that coaching matters. It matters so much that when we sat there and we looked at the Packers last week and Love goes down and no one in their right mind thought that their quarterback could do anything because he forgot how to do a Hail Mary pass, they come out and they beat the vaunted magical Richardson and the Colts with a head coach that we'd much prefer and rather have. They went out there and they beat them. How did they do it? Within a week, they turned their entire offense around from what I heard as a Super Bowl champion, 4 young receivers, tight end, running back. You know what they did? They turned the ball around and they handed it off for 4 freaking quarters and dinked their dunk into a victory. They changed everything around. So I know that I don't have A.J. Brown always open. I appreciate you. But I think that we don't close the doors because one guy's out. So if we want to win this game, then I need my coach to devise something that will have us take those 8-minute drives, those 7-minute drives. When you don't believe in Jalen Hurts, it's cute how you don't believe in him when in the Super Bowl, he has a 9-minute drive to try and close out. We get a penalty, and they score at the last second. It's amazing how in the Packers game, when he needs to go 16 plays deep to walk us down there to get a win, he can do that in crunch time. But then when he throws a pick late because he's trying too hard, he does do that sometimes, he's just never going to be the guy. Let me remind you that it was Monday Night Football celebrating Nick Foles. And I guarantee you, no one on God's green earth ever thought that he was the guy until he was the guy. Okay? He was here, he was gone. Matter of fact, other than his 2 shining moments, he was never the guy. He's going to other teams and was never the guy. So stop telling me that Jalen's not the guy and just accept that no one is perfect unless you think you're Patrick Mahomes, and we've got to find a way to win. So if they want to win, Kellen Moore has to show me that he is who we think that he is and make this team do what they need to do, which is focus on the ground game, manage the clock, and keep that defense off the field as much as possible, because I told you they're all fat dinosaurs that get out of breath faster than I do talking. So if you keep them rested and maybe put up some kind of pressure, we might have hopes to sneak out of there with a 1.5 victory, because that's the only hope we have. 40-10 Saints. I don't have.
Right back to it.
Yo, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking, subscribing. I see you all in the comments. We appreciate all the support. Being an Eagles fan is like,
we care.
One of the greatest and one of the most defeating things, because this podcast, this show, this night was exactly an example of what we go through. The highs are so high because we care. The lows are so low because we care. And we thank you for caring enough about us to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, to give us a follow on all the socials, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your support in this fledgling podcast. Because
it's not fledgling yet. It's only week 2.
I thought that's
3. Only week 2 for me. We're not a fledgling podcast yet.
Okay.
Right?
But either way,
hype it up.
We'll tune in next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, streaming right here on PHLY. Go Birds.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Fledgling.
We all silly like the mayor.